All right, we have another adventure day in a different kind of way. So we have this crack in the windshield. You can kind of actually see it. And it started as just a chip, and we did actually have it fixed in Florida, but one of the days here in California, the winds were so high, and when we pulled the shade up in the morning, we noticed that our chip became a crack. So we are prepping for, the window guys are coming out this morning, and there's a few things we have to do. Like you can see, we've got the Magna shade up right now. Got our camera, we got to get rid of that. Clear off the top. So we've got a few things to do. And one of the things was this Magna shade has magnets on the inside. So we need to mark where the magnets are, because we ordered actually some more magnets from Magna Shade, and we're going to actually put them on ourselves once the new windshield is on. So I wanted to mark in the edges just where these magnets are located, so that hopefully we get a perfect fit like it is right now, because it really does fit nice. So actually what Mark did was he called Magna Shade, told them what we're doing, and we needed to have new magnets put on there. For $120, he had the magnets sent to us, and comes with all the glue and everything else. And they did say that we could remove them, and they were going to send something else to help it stick, but it's like these are really on there, and we're not sure how fast we could get those off. So anyways, we are ready to roll. Why are you sitting there? You're showing our mess again.
Well, I told Sue, I said, we always have an excuse for why we have a mess here. And I said, do you ever think that maybe this is just how we live? So, you know, every time you get the place clean, that's when somebody comes over, but then you have to travel and you got to mess the place up again. Then you deploy and everything is clean, and then you live there for a while and then it gets all messy. Well, now we've got to bring the slides in a certain fashion, and I'll talk about that in a second. And so we've got stuff stacked up where we don't normally have it stacked up. Guy right now for the windows. A couple of pro tips when you're having a windshield done, and I don't know if this is peculiar to Newmar. I would almost think it's not. Apparently, when you take your windshield wipers off, both sides, typically they're not the same. My left arm is different than my right arm on the rig. Typically when they take them off, the splines, when they try to put it back on, even if they match mark it perfectly and tighten it, they can get off just one little spline, and because of the inaccuracies of the spline, it doesn't get enough grip on this, and you don't know about it until a couple of 2 or 3 rainstorms later when you turn your windshield wipers on and it goes like this, and then it ends up drooping down because it shears out the metal in here, and you're driving down the road 65 miles an hour with your wipers hanging like this, you know, and you're like, WTF,
That's
you know?
not good.
So Newmar has suggested this for a while, and in fact Duncan Systems, who we're going with right now, that I called, kind of a one-stop shop. I called Duncan Systems. They're kind of a middleman to match you, the customer, with a windshield installation crew. And at Duncan Systems, they had internal meetings about this very subject, that they have to start doing this because they've had too many customers that the windshield wipers shear out after the first couple of times they use them. And then it's going to be a finger pointing scenario on whose fault it is. So Sue, if you want to take a close-up of what the inside of this looks like, you can see that it is in fact empty on the inside. There's no spline teeth or anything in there. So hopefully this will go as planned, that when we put it on the stub shaft, put it in place, hold it where we want it, put the nut on, and then crunch it down, we will in fact make those splines right in place. So I had to order this ahead of time, $140 an arm along, and then doesn't even include the windshield wipers. So that's what that box is. One other thing is, I called up Newmar this morning, and you have to decide if your rig should be on the bags, the airbags, on the jacks. Should the slides be deployed, not deployed? So as odd as this sounds, this is specifically what the guy at Newmar told me, and he was not exactly certain. So the service guy that I talked to, that's my special number that Newmar gives me when I have problems, he went out and talked to the people in the shop that do it at Newmar, and here's what he said. This full wall slide should be brought in halfway, not all the way, halfway. And that kind of makes sense, because if this big wall slide is going to twist your frame one way or the other, why not twist it in the average of one way or the other, and that would be halfway in. Apparently this slide and the bedroom slide, it doesn't matter where they are. So since the logic on that one being halfway in is being utilized, I'm thinking that when we get around to it in 10-15 minutes, I'm going to bring this one halfway in. The whole rig will be down off the airbags and on the frame, and I will not be on the jacks. Fortunately, we're on a very level site. If you weren't on a level site, I don't know how good that would work, but I'm following their instructions and I'm on a level site, so I'm fairly confident that we'll be good. Back to you, Sue. One of the coolest things that we did on the dashboard is we bought this carpet, and this is the first time this carpet's going to be off since we bought it. Oh. And one of the things that I read about this carpet was that you can get your dashboard discolored.
Or is it just the way the morning sun is?
It's all one piece here. Look at this thing. All specially sewn. Really like it. I'd buy it again if it got damaged or something.
So I'm taking the Magna shade down because Mark has to hold the camera right now.
Right, I'm pretty busy.
He's very busy. But I can take this down by myself. When we put it up, it does take two of us. But it's so easy, I can do it myself.
Right. And this is not a Magna shade commercial, which it really should be, because we really love the things.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that they didn't supply me magnets for free to take them off. Apparently normal people reuse their magnets. So here's what we typically do. We have actually been complimented by Magna Shade itself when we were at the FMCA rally on what good shape ours was in, being as old as it was. And it's because we try not to crinkle it when we store it. We certainly don't fold it, we roll it. So what I have to do first is turn the ignition on, and now I'm going to auto store. I'm coming off my jacks. So we're bringing the jacks up because Newmar told us that we need to be just on the frame. They did not want us on our bags, and they did not want the jacks down. So jacks up, we're not going to be on the bags. All right, we got to bring the slide halfway in, big slide. We're hooked up to electric, in. Notice how silky smooth it's coming in since we had it fixed at Newmar. Thank you, Newmar. Yeah. Sue, why don't you move over, and I'm going to check to see. We got to check here at 19 inches. Look at that. I'm at 19 and a half, close enough.
Wow.
So here's the crew showing up on time from Perry's Auto Glass in San Bernardino. The first thing I want you to notice is the size of this truck. It's a very low truck that provides that platform to be at the exact height for them to work on our motor coach on safely. You'll see that the windshield, in fact, arrived in the original shipping container to keep it safe, and the first thing they did was open it up, clean the glass, and apply a primer to the outer edges to prepare it to be glued in properly. We respected the crew and didn't film a lot of the different techniques and tools they used because, quite honestly, they're tricks of the trade, and that sets them apart from all of the other amateurs that do this for a living. One of the things you're going to want to do is go to the Perry Auto Glass website and look at a YouTube video that they have posted on there that was done by 2020 with Barbara Walters as the commentator, and it's pretty eye-opening on how badly your windshield installation can go and how unsafe it can end up if it's not done properly. I can tell you that after watching these guys and having ours installed, they did everything that that particular YouTube video said should be done and didn't do any of the bad shortcuts that they warned against.
That was for my
Say that again?
the big thick ones are the ones that go in the corner.
Okay.
And then the other pro tip is take these magnets off this pizza sheet before you make your next pizza. Yes. No, I mean, like, what if you forget, you know?
You know.
You've got dental work and...
I have to be honest with you that when this windshield was taken out, and especially when you're about 10 feet, 15 feet in front of the rig and you're looking at your motorhome without a windshield in it with this big hole, it almost looked like it was in a junkyard already, and it was a little disconcerting. I think Sue must have picked up on my discomfort here, because you can see that it didn't take her long and she had me laughing and feeling good again, just like usual.
Now that I see how truly wimpy these splines are, I can tell you categorically, at least with the Newmar, the way the wiper arms are supplied brand new with a hole that's got a soft metal that then gets crushed down onto these shaft splines during the installation process, there is no way that you're going to be able to re-hook the old ones back up successfully unless you're really one lucky dude. They look big in the picture here, obviously, on your screen, but I can tell you they're fairly fine, and getting it correctly positioned would be near impossible. So make sure you get new arms. The Newmar arms were $140 a pop, so that adds $280 to your installation. So these guys offered to shoot some extra bolts in, or screws, in the top there. The dashboard on some of the Newmars kind of falls down. So now this is when it's nice in your repertoire of spare parts here to see if you have the right screws that you need.
So what are you doing?
I'm going to lay the screws out like a buffet. Then I'm going to have Jack take a look at these and see which ones he thinks he wants.
Here is Mark and Jack reinforcing the roof section by my windshield before they put the windshield in and make it inaccessible. If you're the type of person that likes to knock on wood, you might want to do it for your refrigerator, because if your refrigerator ever needs to be replaced, take one guess how you get it out of the rig.
And here I'm pretending like I'm really helping by putting the windshield wipers on. It's like a 5-minute job, and I'll probably be done in about an hour. And
but it's so precise, Mark.
Yeah,
it'll be every minute.
It'll be awesome. Yeah, using English tools on metric. No, I think it's English. But make sure you don't tighten these up.
Get some wiggle room.
Yep. Actually, it's designed so that you can crush it tight and it
still wiggles.
Yeah, but I don't trust a designer.
Okay, so now it's the nervous moment of reckoning. I want you to pay attention to the fact that all of a sudden these guys have black rubber gloves on. And that's because they're gripping it in an area where that primer is that you're counting on the mastic or the sealer to hold it in place, and they didn't want to contaminate it with any oils from their hands. We have Progressive RV Insurance, and they contract with Duncan Systems to be able to select appropriate installers for the particular equipment that you're driving. And we were able to specify only using Newmar OEM glass so that it would fit as perfectly as you see happening here. Now, keeping in mind this piece of glass is 261 pounds shipped, they certainly make it look easy, but it is by no means that. After we've seen all the different steps that have to be undertaking, it only looks easy because these guys have done this so many times that they know exactly what they're doing. Notice along the top of the windshield that they had all of that blue painter's tape ready in position so that when they stuffed this windshield into this opening, it would hold the windshield up so that they could go around the perimeter of the glass and push those areas against the mastic. Here's a shot of the label that proves that it's Newmar OEM and it's DOT certified glass. Take a look at this gap all along the bottom, how perfectly even it is. Realize that you have four edges to line up. You pretty much have to pick one of them. It can probably parallelogram a little bit how it wants to because of the way a motor coach is. I believe the final step now is maybe a little bit more sealer in this gap, and then we're going to put the decorative molding on around the edges. So this is the gasketing that goes all the way around, and you can see what it looks like. It's a big coil. I had to buy 33 feet. It's got sticky back tape on both sides. I really appreciated the precision in which these guys tried to get this molding on as close to OEM how it had been. You can see Mark here rolling out the gasketing to make sure the adhesion is nice and tight. This overlap will eventually be cut at a 45-degree miter. I was a little worried how this whole process was going to go, and I can tell you in retrospect it went easy as pie. It sure helps that Jack is extra tall here and he's able to just lean into this socket here and engage that spring mechanism enough that he can get the spline to start to feed into the shaft before he puts the nut on. I, of course, willfully let him put both of them on so I didn't embarrass myself on camera. Just like in your personal life, if you don't have health insurance, you will not get the health care discounted rate. You will have to pay the full price. If we did not have RV insurance, the windshield glass would have cost $3,577. The labor was $900. The windshield wiper arms were $280. The wiper blades were $140. The decorative molding around the edges was $200, and the grand total would have been $5,097. Yikes.